Alright. So, Subnova made the categories for this one. Noticing D does not say deck thinning. Quickly fix that. Tires don't exist. Explain my car driving then. Alright. These categories, I'm not going to adhere to them super closely. I'm going to mostly kind of go by vibes. Some of them won't be controversial. Some of them probably will be controversial. But we can start with Raven Spirit Sword. I appreciate your efforts, Titania. Your services have been recognized. This was weird because it was really popular for a while and it didn't seem that good, and then they nerfed it and then it seemed terrible, and then it never kind of stopped seeming terrible after they started messing with it. So I think it's like okay. Mostly I feel like you would never pick it over other Mirages. So like I think Spiritage Sword and Consonant Sword Formation both kind of fill similar sort of niches, but they're like way more powerful. Whereas this is just like medium Rook Spirit Sword. I would almost be tempted to put it down to D, just because I don't think there's going to be that many here. This is one that it's really hard to. I feel like it's just really hard to justify clicking it, because if you want to play that kind of deck, just play Spiritage Sword, right? And it's just like way better. I might move it up. Let's put it here for now. Let's start with a strong statement. Light Sword. This is definitely on the top end. I don't know if I'd put it in B or A. I feel like it's definitely worse than some of the other cards on this list for the Sword Sect. So I kind of think I'm going to lean to B. It kind of makes Unrestrain and like Cloud Sword better. Well, Unrestrain specifically makes Unrestrain kind of playable this season, but I don't think Unrestrain is like that good. But it is good in that deck. So I kind of feel like middle of the road makes a lot of sense. Talking about Raven, yeah, definitely. Not actually having access to Raven is a real hit too. I kind of like B for Light Sword. Spiritage Sword. This is A or S. It's definitely better than the best generics, I think. We're seeing a lot of it right now, which definitely is giving me some like recency bias, you know? I definitely think the fact that we're seeing as much of it as we are at the moment biases me towards it a little bit. There we go. So I think I'm gonna put it in A for now. I may revisit this as well. Hot takes to the end. That's alright. Also, feel free to shout out grades as well. Shrink chat a little bit as we're going through it. I'll ignore you all, but I appreciate the input. Flying Fang, this is another one that's a bit weird because I kind of think Cloud Dance Rhythm is mostly better. This one's like quite good. Here I think is one of the losing the original hurts like a lot. Like a lot. It's kind of okay if you're a cat girl and your board just already does 1 billion damage, but I feel like it hurts a lot to not have access to Flying Fang Sword on your Sword Intent board. I think knocks it down a peg in my books. I also don't really think it's better than like Cloud Dance Rhythm or Consonance, which we'll get to. We'll get to soon. Maybe B even. I think it's worse than Spirited Sword, definitely. I'll go B for now. Diligent Sword. This is a weird one because this card feels really strong, but it takes a really long time to become good. The cultivation requirement on it is pretty steep, and it's like you draw. Like once the diligent boards are online, they're really good, but they take so long to come online. Like your Mirage has to wait till like around like 13, 14 if you draw 2 copies of it. Later if you don't. It's kind of a tall ask. Otherwise it's just one chase, which is just like not that exciting. It's weird because I think when the boards come together they're good, but not really there. Just too hard to build, I think. 14 is an understatement. Yeah, I could also be like overstating how hard it is to make this come online. I think C is okay, niche pickable. So this one's weird because I haven't seen it in a long time. Like I haven't fought a Dharma Cackle in a while, but this card was really good for her. Like it was just everywhere for a while. It does kind of have the Dharma asterisks of like once you get to tier 5 and stuff and draw all your pieces, it's like really excellent. You have freedom to play tech cards because you don't use any continuous cards. So I kind of think it's good, but not like one of the best builds in the game. It's probably why we've seen it drop off a bit since Cloud Dance Rhythm has come out. And yeah, no touch sky means you have a hard time playing Cloud Swords early. Again, Cackle, it's not that big a deal because you just lose 2 rounds and then you pick up Cat Sword and it's fine. Mini Cat Sword. I think A is fine. Legendary Double Demon Raking Palm. I think this one's pretty bad. I know it was popular for a while, but I never really believed in it. And then I played it once the other day, and right now it seems just utter garbage. It seems so bad compared to the rest of the things you can do in the season. It's still okay. You can still put it on your multi-hit board. I just feel like by the time it gets like good, your board's already doing the thing it needs to do. Obviously, there were numbers saying it was strong, but I don't believe in them. I don't believe in Cloud Sword. It's just Cloud Sword. Are we ordering within tier lists? There we go. I'll try to, but no promises. I probably won't order the the cross sects because like that doesn't make sense as a comparison to me. I would be tempted to put this in D. I think it's really bad. It's really bad. But it's so popular, it's hard to rate it so lowly. Let's stand our ground. I think this is one of the best Mirages in the game. I think this is the main reason why so many of these other Mirages are lower, because it feels like this card is just doing what a lot of them do, but better. You can just play a board full of defensive nonsense and then play this card and you have enough sword intent to kill people. Combo's great with Rule Sky. We've seen it monstering people in the tournament. So I think S for this. And honestly, like cards like Flying Fang Sword lose so much ground because this card exists and I think just does the same thing but better. And at a lower cost. Like Cloud Dance Rhythm's a hard card to lose, but you often don't even draw copies of it until the late game anyway. I think it's fine there. I feel like Dragon Coil's another one where a Mirage came along that kind of ate its dinner. You know, when Dragon Coiled first came out, it was very popular for a while with Long Yaos, and then they buffed Consonant Sword Formation, and then it kind of felt like if you were going to be messing around with defense on your board and wanted to make that a core part of your strategy, maybe you should just play Consonants instead of a sort of slow scaling Dragon Coiled. This was good when it came out. I just think that like the Painter Long Yao board is not as good as, you know, a musician Consonants one. Consonants is worse Coiled, not the other way around. I think Consonants is better than Dragon Coiled. I think it just fits better. It fits into a better strategy too. You know, very popular with Illusion Tune Long Yao, which I think is a better board than Painter Yao. Controversial take, I know, but Coiled is a fortune teller card. Maybe. Maybe it is. I can't think of what that board looks like, so put it here. I think that's like a B. I think consonance is better than it. I think it's like so. The joke was originally that consonance was going to be in deck thinning, except because you can find the green cat sword intent board without this in your pool junking up your drawers. But now it's good, so it can't go in deck thinning. I think consonance is better than dragon coiled. I think the boards are better. I think the play pattern is better. I think it's very useful to be able to anti-chase people at the moment, and consonance kind of fits well on that. It takes a crappy sword formation out of your deck, which makes like your sword formation drawing fates a lot better because then they're all good. That's a very, very minor upside, but it's nice. It's nice to not have to draw consonant sword formation. This is the do nothing sect. They're always the do nothing sect to me because I never play them. But these couple of Mirages have gone a pretty long way, I think, to making the sect pretty interesting at the moment. It's maybe worse than Touch Sky. I think this is roughly my tier list for the sect. I don't think there's anything too controversial in here. I think maybe you could argue this could be higher. These could not be in D tier. Obviously, there's some conversation about which one of these is better, but pretty happy with this list overall. Yeah, pretty happy with this. Alright, Heptastar. Cutting Weeds. This card has had a really fascinating life, because originally it was spoiled and people were like, this is going to just ruin the season, and then the version that actually released was like significantly weaker than that, and they kind of buffed it back to what it was spoiled as, or something pretty close to it. I think it's quite bad. It's good at killing people. It doesn't do anything else. You kind of have to devote a lot of deck space to it for it to be good. It's not like, you can play Cutting Weeds on your healer board, but Revitalized already kind of does the same thing for that. Otherwise, you usually end up just spinning your wheels and then playing Cutting Weeds and killing them on like turn 4. I think you can get it to a turn 3 if all your cards are maxed, maybe, but it's really hard. 3, 4, 5, and now it's 3.54. I didn't know we had 3.5, but I think it's still quite bad. I don't think it's particularly good. Not a big fan of it. I feel like, generally speaking, it's not very good to have this card be one of your Mirages. I think you would almost never pick it over a generic if you want to win. So, deck thinning. Also, yeah, I see what you mean, 4G3X. Also, Cutting Weeds is kind of a nice card to draw on like Xian, which is one of the main people who are playing it. So, unconditional damage, cheater damage conversion, which is helpful for her in the mid game. Not a big deal, but worth noting. Ruthless Water. Man, Ruthless Water. This is another one that got nerfed. Despite... So, Ruthless Water got nerfed because it was obliterating people on tier 4. So they nerfed it so it would cost chi, which doesn't hurt it too much in the late game, because you're pairing it with Divine Walk Fulu. But made it much weaker in the early game, because now you need to spend a turn making chi. So it's kind of weird, because I don't think it was ever really oppressive on 5. It was just a menace on 4 before it got nerfed. Then they nerfed it, and it kind of became a lot less popular. I think you can still take it on Yanchen and it be okay. Like, it's one of the two Mirages that make, like, Yanchen playable. So, like, I think it's... I don't know how you classify that. Especially because I don't really know how you compare it to Flowers and Water, or Flower Sentient, which we'll get to soon. So, like, you could call it a solid role player because he can play it. You could call it A because it's build defining. Like, it literally is a build with Yanchen. If you want to play within reach Yanchen, it's one of the better ways to do it. Probably better than Flower Sentient overall, I think. Yeah, but that's not that good a build. It's not that good a build. I could see an argument for any of these 3 slots. It doesn't seem like it should be in A. I think probably B. Go B. Earth-Hex? Earth-Hex has kind of really impressed me. Well, the problem with comparing it to the generics, right, is on Yan-Chen, I think you should take... Like, if you're going to play Yan-Chen, why are you playing Yan-Chen this season? Well, unless you're just playing him as, like, a cultivation bot, you're probably playing him for Within Reach, right? If you're playing him for Within Reach, I think you should take this over a generic and probably play Fulu. Because otherwise you don't have a plan. Like, your board's just going to be not great. I don't know, is it better than Musician Yan-Chen? Like, maybe just being able to predicament people is actually better than this. It's possible just being able to predicament people is better than this, in which case Flower Sentient probably bumps up, because it's still, like, the best chi source for that deck outside of Cordon Tune. Which, of course, you'll still play. Maybe just being able to predicament people on that board is better than that, in which case it probably drops down to C, and Flower Sentient can be higher. Yeah, I buy that argument. Alright. Earth-Hex. Earth-Hex is one where I think not having it in your pool early is probably fine. Wouldn't hate having it, but we're long out of the days where people are rolling on tier 1 on Heptastar very often. I think this is better than most generics for the boards that want it. I think it's just like sort of the de facto hexagram card. If you're playing a hexagram board, if you're playing Formicide, even like the healing Formicide boards, I think they really want this. It just kind of fits a lot of niches. I think if you're playing Hamster, you're going to play this card and skip her tier 4, probably. You could play it with her tier 4 and upgrade her tier 4. It's also legit. You have a huge chi denial hexagram. I think it's good. I think it's better than generics on the boards that want it. I don't know if it's build defining is the only thing, but I think it's kind of the thing that keeps hexagrams alive in this format right now. So I think it's probably an A, is my feeling on it. Man, cards that have had a storied life though, Dotted Around. So Dotted Around released, and it was garbage. They buffed it like 3 times. And then people were like, hey, this card's actually pretty good now. Like, it's not garbage anymore. And then they released, like, the Dotted Around character, who was also overtuned at launch. So all of a sudden, like, a exceptionally strong character had just, like, a completely broken Mirage at release. And then they pretty heavily nerfed it. Like, they took a bunch of the numbers back off it. And then since then, it's been kind of, like, in and out, whether or not you play it on her. Yeah, a horror story. So I don't even know if this card is like that good anymore. I think on Feng Shui you usually skip it or take Fletch instead. And if you're skipping it on Feng Shui, I don't really think you're taking it on anyone. So I kind of think this kind of back down into like C territory. I think in the weeks and months since this was nerfed, I see more Feng Shuis taking Fletch over Dotted Around. And I don't really see Wurzer either, really. So I think this is probably... Is it even a Wurzer card? Wurzer doesn't really want to make chi. I think this is like C. CD at the moment. It's really not very good. This card is like way better than I thought it was. Vitality Blossom. It's like not a complete joke. But I still think it's quite bad. I still don't really think it's very good. I don't know if it's like all the way in D territory. There's a bunch of boards that look way better when they have Vitality Blossom on them. The initial heal is like a lot more than it kind of looks like. And like all the little synergies add up in like a couple of spots. I just don't really think it's where you want to be. I don't think you really want to be playing like Vitality Blossom on your Tanshuyan Fortune Teller board. I think you'd rather just play Fortune Teller Tenchiana and just play the same board she's always played. I think if you want to win, you'll almost never click this. I think it's probably worse than the generics almost always for Tenchion. I mean, I'm sure you could line up 3 generics that were bad enough that I would take Vitality Blossom over them, but most of them clicking Vitality Blossoms because I want to mess it around. So C to D, probably still D. I'm not sure about this one. It's a lot better than it looks. I think this is D. This is definitely in D territory. I've seen this one on a Wu Tzu board once, and I was like, huh, that was better than I expected it to be. But it also wasn't great. Then I don't think I ever saw it again. It kind of does like a Polaris imitation. You can't really run it with Polaris. So it's mostly advantageous because it means you can draw Polaris and or this card, and it's kind of like you shuffled 6 Polaris into your deck. But I don't think that is a very good place to be right now. I think you should just draw Polaris, if that's your plan. And have a generic. That means you have some additional power in the early game. So I think this goes in D. This might be worse than these two. Vitality Blossom is probably the best of these. And I think Ruthless Water, for what it is probably better than this. So speaking of terrible star power cards, we have Astral Fletch, just another loser of a card. I can't really remember much about this card. I think about it so rarely. It's such a footnote on the season. It's hard to even remember what it does. Star power and something. I don't know. Hard to say. Yeah. Okay. Look. So obviously this card is going to be the card that when we talk about the season, this is what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about Fletch the same way we talk about Water Drop Erosion, or the way we talk about Door Fusions. It is going to be the face of the season forever. Started in tier 4 and then was nerfed almost immediately to tier 5, and then its numbers were reworked and still constantly being played. Huge amount of flexibility. There's so many boards you can run on Jiang Qiming and to a lesser extent Feng Shu. Tenchion even, though I think it's probably the least common. I think it's an S. I think if you have boards that handle it easily, they probably have more outs to it than you think. Yeah, I think it's really good. The board does require a lot of gold cards, but there was a while when every lobby had a few Jiang Qimings in them running the same board, so it goes. Fletch, obviously an S. Here's another funny one. Man, so many of these cards have had wild nerf histories, hey. There's just been so many that have been like... The opinion on them has been so heavily split, and they've received changes. Incessant was one that was everywhere in the first few weeks of the season, and everyone got sick of it really, really quickly. And then it was nerfed, and it's basically never looked good since. I have not. I've seen one Incessant board that looked kind of interesting, which was that Feng Shu one in the tournament about a month ago, but I don't think it was like that good, and the Incessant didn't even really seem that important on it. So I think this one is bad. I think similarly, if you're gonna play Musician Tenchion, I guess like you could click it, but I mean, I don't think it's as bad as like these two. I think it has, like, you could generously put it up to C, I think. I don't even know if it's better than Vitality Blossom there. Historically, I feel like it warrants a spot in C. I don't know. I don't really know that I agree with this delineation between them, but it's very thin. But you could maybe click it if you're playing Musician Tenchion or something, it'd be okay. I think I said that I like this card more than this one at the moment. So I guess I'm going to put it in B. This is one of the two. This is one of the two within reach enablers. And I guess this one's probably a little bit better because it fits into musician. But I don't know. You could also just not play it. It would probably be fine. Somewhere between B and C. It's like maybe here. I actually like it here, I think. That's okay. It's nice to, if you only have like a low-level Heartbroken Tune, this piles on a lot of damage while giving you more time to deploy your defensive cards. You know, it does all the chi for you. It makes a million chi after they buffed it, so it's alright. This is another one I think is pretty bad. Another horrendous healing card with a miserable play pattern that's like not that good, but just kind of a pain in the ass to play against. I was kind of impressed at how the Earth Hexagram boards played regular yin-yang formation, and it just kind of seemed like they were doing all the things this card was doing without needing to devote a Mirage to it. You can play the former side build that makes a bunch of chi and then plays this card twice and it blows up your opponent and heals to full on turns like 3 and 4. I don't know. That's pretty one note. It's good if you need someone to take 300 damage. It's not very good otherwise. I think this is another one you probably shouldn't click. I don't even know if it's better than Vitality Blossom. It's better than these two though, I think. Kind of whatever. I mean, so many of the Heptastar cards are just like miserable healing enablers, right? Which is another recurring theme of the of the season. Miserable healing enablers. Alright, Heptastar cards, I think I kind of like this. I think Fletch is obviously great. Earth Hex is good. These are like Yan Chen only cards that are both like defensible, but Yan Chen is not that good. If Yan Chen was good, these would be much higher, I think. But even with them, he's not. Which maybe means these aren't very good. And then this is where I think you're in the territory of cards you probably just like shouldn't really be clicking if you want to win. But they're kind of fun. I mean, this one's fun. I guess one of them is fun. Flame E8 for 5 elements. This card has appeared on so many boards over the season, and I don't know if any of them are very good. The Mono Fireboard with Wu Jingzhe eventually gets very good. There's another card that's been buffed 100 times. It's very funny that you can chi deny yourself. It's very funny that you can't really play Mono Fire until tier 4, because the only source of chi is now Fire Seal, and all the fire cards cost chi. Hilarious. And then hilarious that once you get this card, its text is eat all your chi. Very funny joke. Definitely the funniest card that they made in the Mirage season. I think you probably shouldn't play this card if you want to win, but I think it has enough power that it justifies a C slot. I'm mostly putting it here because I don't think the decks that it enables are that good. But it is good in those decks. So, like, I don't really know how you want to separate those two things out. I kind of think this is, like, good deck territory. Then this is, like, good deck, but medium power. And then this is, like, bad deck, but card is good in the deck. Maybe I'll start it in B and we'll revisit it as we go through the 5 elements ones, because these might all be pretty low. Maybe they need a win. Like, is Flaming 8 better than Ruthless Water or Diligent Sword? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Not that I explicitly said I wasn't going to compare cross-sects, but, you know, there we go. Recovery. This is a weird card. So here's the thing with Recovery, right? A card that says you gain +2 chi and 1, 2, 3 attack up is good. Like, that is a card that you would happily play in a lot of wood decks and is better than Fragrant in a lot of wood decks. Particularly like Chi Wang Yo's boards that lead on like a defensive card, like a Soul Requiem Fulu or a Guard Up Elixir or something like that. You don't often have the Chi to enable like big Fragrant attack ups. So having this card be like upgraded to like level 2 or 3 will often give more attack up than Fragrant. Then it has the added bonus of heal for 15, which like if you just look at it as like trinket text, there's just like minor upside, is like, hey, that's pretty neat. You know, hey, that's a good card that now has a little bit of upside. Obviously, the card used to heal you to your health from last turn, which was like the main part of the card when it was first released. And that got brought all the way back down to trinket text, where it's like no longer the important part of the card. Now, the card has more caveats, obviously, right? You have to actually activate wood for it to... you have to actually heal before you play it in order to get that attack up. So it's not just like you can play it in place of Fragrant and you're done. Like, you do need to heal, which makes it pretty rough on, like, tier 4. So... It's not just everything. We saw 0 copies of Blazing Flame in shelf meta. 2 for attack up. Yeah, you had to play Fulu, I think, was a bigger problem with that one. And also, I think fire is a worse element than wood on those sorts of boards. Because you can circ wood into fire, and you can't circ backwards, right? So you want your enabler to be wood. It gives you just a little bit more flexibility. So I don't know where this card ends up, because we're not picking it right now, but I'm not 100% sure we shouldn't be picking it. I mean, it's clearly not like an S. And I don't think it's a B, because we're just not taking it. I think it's pretty solidly a C, but I don't believe it is unplayable, and particularly, again, for like Chi Wang Yo, who is a character who, like, needs to draw her cards. You know, she actually does need to hit cards that do things for her very, very strong passives to do stuff. Having another card you can draw is pretty good. You're only really drawing to like Fragrant and Willow-Leaf right now. Blast really eats into your Chi budget. And then there's a fire card, so you can't circ it. So I'm not 100% sure. I can very, very easily imagine people playing this card, like trivially easily. But we're not, so I guess C. It definitely has problems, but I think it's not unpickable. I think the trinket text of 15 HP is also, like, not irrelevant either, but I don't think it's very good. But I don't think it's unpickable. I think if you're playing Chi Wang Yo and you pick this, you can rationalize it pretty easily, and there'll be times where you will absolutely win because you put this in instead of taking, like, a, you know, one of the generics. But, like, pickable over the worst generics, I think you could absolutely make a case for that on Chi Wang Yo, so I'm happy with it in C. I don't think it's great, but characters that don't need to draw their cards. Shinrei. Ming Ming. Li Man. When I say draw their cards, I mean they have access to cards that they can put on their boards that do stuff. Chi Wang Yo literally has 0. I mean, you can even say Ji Fang Chong doesn't need to draw his cards, except he needs to draw his physique. Obviously, every character needs to draw some cards, but like Chi Wang Yo also has like no card efficiency, right? Like Wu Xingzhi has exchanges, Mu Yifeng has extra exchanges, Xiaobu has extra exchanges. Chi Wang Yo has no character cards and no extra card like economy. When I say that she needs to draw her cards, that's what I mean. She's one of the characters that has neither of those things. There's nothing you can pick up to improve your color. Even Lin Xiaoyu at least has curiosity. Oh wait, you mean doesn't have to draw her cards? Yeah, Cat Sword. Sure. But yes, that's what I mean. Needle. What do we think of Needle? I've seen a lot of Nangong Sheng in the last, like, 2 months, and none of them take Needle. I cannot remember the last time I have seen Needle on a board. It is possible from tier 4 onwards to make a board that kills your opponent very, very quickly. Also need to take Swift Burning Seal and your tier 2. And your tier 3. I don't think it is S. I think it's definitely not a snap pick. It is definitely build defining, but I don't know if it's better than the best generics, because you can just play Plant Master Nangong Sheng, and I like Plant Master Nangong Sheng just does not have that many like atrociously bad matchups, and he gets to go first, which Needle Nangong Sheng often doesn't. Better than Flameate. I definitely don't think it's the best Mirage in the game. I think it is substantially worse than a bunch of these. It's tough, because the main reason I think this card is good is because Subnova keeps telling me it's good. So I don't know how to adjust for that. I played it a few times and it does seem good. Needle guarantees a top 4. Maybe it guarantees a top 4. Yes, you can take me up to A. No, I don't think so. I'm putting it in B. I think Nangong Sheng can take the best generics and be pretty happy to just play Plant Master. It definitely doesn't augment a build. It is its own build. But, I don't think it's... I mean, like, Earth in it probably seem kind of close. I can respect it up to an A. I'll take an A, it's fine. It's excellent before people cared about doing DX. Isn't it like... kind of... I don't know. It also kind of feels like the board just does like one thing. I mean, I know you can tech combine worlds and stuff. You know, you can always lead your board with like circle combined worlds. It just feels like something like side or random defense you weren't expecting can screw you over really roughly. But I guess everything loses to side, so maybe that's not that big an argument. It's just tough. It really is just because Nangong Sheng Plant Master is so good. That's the main issue, I think. Is that, like, is it worth clicking this button and running a completely different game plan to Plant Master Nangong Sheng when you could take, like, a generic and just make your Plant Master Nangong Sheng board better? It's definitely better than Flame Eater, but maybe that's an argument to move Flame Eater down. Anyway. I'll take it on an A for now. But it's a soft A. Earth Spirit Formation, I like this one. You can play it on... So there was a while when it was really popular on Musician Muhu, where you didn't have to actually play the card. Just enabled your water cards to be active as an opening. Definitely got worse for him after that. But then it became like a Chinrei card, and it does seem quite good on Chinrei's board. I think Chinrei's a little bit unrelated, a little bit underrated rather. So I think it's probably like a B, solid role player, definitely skippable. Kind of brought Chinrei back a little bit. I think Chinrei's a little bit better than people think she is. Well, people are talking about regular Cosmos Seal, but like, no one plays Cosmos Seal in anything, so I kind of feel like Chinrei's board is better than the Mono Fire board. Maybe that's crazy. Fire Seal. I feel like Fire Seal is kind of definition niche after the nerf. I think you can play it on Tiger now, and it's fine. it's like a decent option for him, but I don't think it's always his best option. I think he'll often take other things over it. So I think it's kind of just a C level card. It's not really played anywhere else that I can think of. And I don't really know that Tiger board is something you lock in at the beginning of the game very often. So I think C is fine for it. Better than Recovery, I think. Predicament wins. Better than you expected. Billows Plus. I think this is the only Mirage I have not played still. I don't really know where to put this one. It's basically just like you play Musician and play this card. You kind of tune up to tier 5, you play Musician, you play Predicament, you play this card, and it's good on a Predicament board. Niche, I don't know. Not having Billows in your deck really sucks. It's like possibly the best card to get, I mean, maybe Spirit Formation, Fang. One of the best cards to get turned into a Mirage, though. You really feel this card not being available to you, I think, a lot of the time. If you like Mono Water, this card is fine. I think it's quite bad. Maybe it's just unplayable, honestly. I don't think I've seen a single board with it where I was like, you know what, I was wrong about this card. Even when it's in play and it looks good, I'm like, my board sucks. I lost to Billows Plus. I lost to M Billows. Yeah, it's just kind of bad. Tournament Chinray got third with it. Like, you could just play Chinray and get third a lot of the time. I don't know. I'm pretty high on Chinray, pretty low on Billows. I think it just sucks. Whatever. Screw this card. Give me back Billows. Also, another time the opposite of deck thinning, where the card being removed is like a huge detriment to you. I think another reason the Musician thing caught on, right? Because you kindness tune instead of Billows. Instead of winning your fights, you lose all your fights. Man. M-Suck. This was such a fun card when it released. It was so good for Ling Yuan. And then they like nerfed it to the ground twice. They really screwed this card. I don't know if this card is good at the moment. It's probably still good on Ling Yuan. I just don't know if Ling Yuan is good at the moment. Yeah, unfortunately they kept the major nerf though, which is that it no longer activates the card at the back of your deck, which hurts quite a lot. Probably B. Like, you probably still play it on Ling Yuan like half the time, and it's fine. It's probably still decent, honestly, but it's a lot more work. You need to be like innate wood to actually turn on your wood cards. I don't know how it compares to these, but I think it's better than these. So, B probably. I legit have no idea how good Mountains is. A, maybe? Tiger is good. Earth Tiger can still win a lot. Mountains is good for Earth Tiger. Earth Tiger, perennially underrated. I think it's just like a good card on Tiger, and Tiger is a good card for Tiger's best board, and that board is good. Build defining on Landslide. Yeah, I think this is just good. Almost never see it. Like, shows up so rarely. So few people play Tiger. But it's great on him. Love it. A. Easy. Cosmo Seal. Another one with the dubious honor of being boosted up a tier. You see, whenever there's a Tiger, half the time they're wet Tiger. But I take your point. Dubious honor Cosmo Seal of being bumped up from tier 4 to tier 5 when Wu Jingzhou was just staying on tier 4 forever and just drawing World Smashes and Cosmo Seals and obliterating people on turn 3. They rectified that pretty quickly. I think this is kind of the best card for Wu Jingzhou at the moment, and possibly is the best Mirage for Qi Wang Yo as well. Yeah, I'm not really sure either. Don't know where this card goes. I know some Qi Wang Yos are very high on it. I know Wu Jingzhou is pretty high on it. I think it's kind of... I think it's pretty fair to put this up in A. I think this is just like the best Wu Jingzhou Mirage. And again, I think maybe you're supposed to take it on Qi Wang Yo and just have access to it and just play like Cosmo Seal World Smash on 5. Have a good roll. I think it's decent. A Metal Seal. Oh, Metal Seal. This is a weird one. It does enable some turn 3 kills. And can even enable a turn 2 kill. The coveted turn 2 kill on Nangong Shang. With M Secret Seal, Chase into Great Recovery Elixir, Shuttle, Tripod. Lethal damage with all your cards upgraded. You also cannot use your Revive and have taken tier 5. I think this card is probably unplayable. I think this card is probably unplayable. I think if you want to do the thing I just described, you should just play Needle. Like, for everything I've said about Needle, you do get to have your Revive, which is a huge part of why Child is so good, I think. I can't imagine... I just can't see taking your tier 5 and not taking your Revive at the moment. Like, I think you just get obliterated most of the time before your board comes online. You're not fast. You have no defensive. Literally cannot heal. You cannot heal. I think it's really bad. I think it's cool that it exists and you can take the screenshot where it does a billion damage on turn 2 and your opponent only gets to play 1 card because they're really slow. But I think you should probably not click this card if you want to win games. You should click a different one. This is another one that got changed a whole bunch of times. Alright, how's this tier list looking so far? Some things are not where I expected them to be when I started, but overall I think it's not too bad. Maybe Vitality Blossom. Maybe Incessant should just be in D, and Vitality Blossom should be like up here. I think that's the main one that I'm like, I don't know about this. I feel like Vitality Blossom might be better than Incessant. I'm gonna do it. Yeah, well, I don't want to just have a meaningless tier. So I'm grading these cards under the assumption that like they should roughly be divided somewhat evenly between these tiers. But obviously it's hard to hold a candle to these ones because I feel like these are just like the best one in the set, right? Like maybe Mountains should be an S because it's just the best one in the sect. I mean, I mostly feel like these ones, these are all ones that if you pick, you are decreasing your chance of winning the game. Basically. D could decrease your chance of winning the game. And then these ones I think you can sort of like vaguely justify, and then these ones are where you start to actually like improve your chance of winning. But the boards are still not that good, and then here you have like things that good boards play. Okay, DX. Youthful Vigor. This is good. This is very good. How good, though? So, I kind of go back and forth on this one. I think Youthful Vigor is really good on tier 4 and then can win games. I think having a board that deals a bunch of damage while also healing in the middle of it is quite valuable. I don't know that it's S tier though. I'm not really sure what I'm going to put in S tier for DX if I don't put this in S tier though. Maybe nothing. Maybe you're just supposed to play Musician. Maybe you're just supposed to play Musician DX and not take any Mirages. We'll start in A and go from there. Speaking of cards that... I don't actually have a good segue for this. I hate this card. I'm so glad this card's going to be going away. Man, this card made the mid-game of the season miserable along with some of these other ones. I don't think this is that good, though. I think it's pretty good at just murdering people and dealing max destiny to them on tier 4 and then losing a shitload of fights. It's very annoying to be playing a board that cannot beat this card or has to fight it on tier 4. The nerfs definitely hurt it quite a lot. It is a lot weaker. I don't ever think it was that good. I think it's like kind of like C or B tier. I think for a while it was like the best DX Mirage because the rest of them were so bad on release. But I think Youthful Vigor has kind of eaten its lunch for the most part. Like, Tukwe still has to play this, obviously, but like, you know, the rest of the sect can kind of run this. Not who has other options, but... So I don't really know that you're supposed to really take this card super often. Maybe it goes up to B, because a lot of these are quite bad. It's just tough. It's one of those cards that just has, like, huge matchup swings, right? Yeah, the Lehman Bones board is definitely, like, the end game, like, nightmare. I just feel like a lot of boards just kind of crush that. And it's super hard to assemble. I don't know if it's actually, like, good. And Lehman, like, is it better than Lehman's, like, Force board? Probably not, right? Like, or Lehman's Entangle board? Probably not, right? It just stomps the fights that can't beat it. So I kind of think it's maybe in C. Quick. Someone tell me what this card does. No cheating and no Subnova, because I know you've actually tried to play this card. Who knows what this card does? You can type out what Sinking Chi, Sinking Chi does. It's Force but Chi. Yeah. No numbers? Pretty sure you could tell me the numbers on Fletch. Pretty sure you could tell me the numbers on a lot of these cards. Pretty sure you can't tell me the numbers on this one. Your chi... You make some amount of chi, and then for your next some amount of turns or attacks, your chi counts as if it's force. You can make boards where this does things, but the sect already has a way to increase the damage of its cards. It's called Force. You should probably play those instead. See? You Subnova would know it. Wait, isn't that also a thing about, like, 2/2/3 attacks? Yeah, okay. So it used to be for the next couple of turns, right? And then they changed it to attacks, but then it was like 2 attacks, and then there was a chance you would use agility to lose an extra attack, so they buffed it again. Doesn't matter. No one plays this card. You can just play Force. Here's another card I'm glad never really caught on. Next 2/2/3 attacks. See? It's, it'll trip you up. Even you don't know the numbers, and you actually tried to play this card. I don't know how good this card is. I'm glad it never caught on. Because it is another one of the sort of miserable healing boards. Kinda seems like it loses to the other healing boards, though. How does youthful vigor scale? I don't know. I'm the one asking the questions here, Pogolo. But I'm sure someone could tell me how this card scales. Yeah, I don't know. This card seems fine, but kind of seems like you have to assemble quite a lot for it to be good. You also have to play a kind of bad side job, I think. So I don't think this is super good. It's probably just D, and you're probably just never supposed to click it. You can maybe talk me up to D. I have literally seen it in play like twice. And I played it twice. And it seemed decent once the board was together. So maybe it's higher than D. I just don't know that it's better than anything else the section does. I mean, it does heal for a lot. It is different. It's a lot of healing. Just a card that is really good in Vanilla Force. I don't think I've ever seen it used for that purpose. I think maybe move it up to C. Don't know. I've not seen it be played ever. We'll call it C. Call it a day. Can live with Exercise Burns. It's not Righteous. Yeah, Righteous is higher than this. Righteous is a better card. It's fine though, I think. It adds agility. Oh, that's funny. If you're at 0 agility, it now adds you up to 5. That's cute. Endless Entanglement. This is a weird one. It enables a style of musician where you can roll on 4 and find all your agility and build a board that actually like kills people on 4. You can start winning earlier. You can beat boards that were previously extremely hard to beat, namely like B-Man Exercise Bones becomes a much easier matchup. It's also very fun and very funny. I don't know if it's better than just playing Musician, though. I don't know that it's really worth clicking the Mirage button and not just playing, like, Greed to 5, roll down for your predicaments and Shiroro's and Soul Cleavings, and just murder people on tier 5. I'm not really sure that it's better than that. So I don't know that I would consider it very high. B, C range, for sure. I'm gonna put it in B because I like it. Done. Easy. Double Trouble. This is another hard one to evaluate. This one seemed like the card that was going to save G-Function, but every card in the set seems like the card that's going to save G-Function and then ends up being a card for someone else. This might be a better Xiao card than Endless Entanglement. It's another source of weaken, which is helpful. Though I feel like it was more helpful earlier in the season when weaken was a little bit more valuable, I feel like. Now boards kind of go over the top of weaken a lot more frequently. And the wounds are kind of detrimental. A lot more detrimental than they used to be. It's another one of those things that's like, it's really nice to have a copy. Because it is really nice in DX to have a card that you can just play that weakens your opponent, right? You don't have to screw up with, you don't have to screw around with Ghost Howling. You know, you just know that you can weaken your opponent for a turn. It is a very useful thing to be able to do. I just don't know that it's... I don't know that it's worth taking. I mean, maybe it still would be. It kind of solves a different problem to this. I don't know if it passes the test of if you're playing Musician, you should play this card. I'm going to put it in B. I think I'm going to actually put it above Endless Entanglement. I don't know. There's a bunch of spots where, like, even like your fully upgraded DX board, you know, where you have like your 30 agility, your Ghost Howling, and your Soul Cleaving, That board still doesn't weaken on turn 2, which with this card you actually can. You can play, you know, Chase into Sure or into Agility card into this, into Ghost Howling Soul Cleaving, and then you like lock your opponent down with weaken from turn 2. Pretty nice. You also kill them because this does 1 billion damage. I don't know. Hard to evaluate, but I think Role Player is fine. Rakshasa Pouncing. I still think this card is ass. people really like this card on Ji Feng Chong. I'm super unconvinced. It does ignore defense. I forgot that was the thing they changed, yeah. You go Shuro, you go this card, then you go Demon Breaking Palm and your opponent is still alive, and then you play RKP and they die. Or you have 30 agility. I don't really believe in it, honestly. I just don't believe in it. I feel like this or this are both better options for him. I can see the argument, but I don't buy it. But I will put it above Sinking Chi. Maybe it's better than this. Maybe this shouldn't be. Kind of just going by Subnova telling me it's good that this is here. I think this is bad, but I'm also sure you'll lose to it sometimes. So I think I would take these on Ji Feng Chong before I took this though, which is the main reason why it's here. But I respect that it does a lot of damage once you find your hero. So Poke's a funny one, because the main place people are playing Poke on Ming Ming, where it seems bad. But I do think it kind of has a place on Tukui, when you're playing for RKP, but you have like a force board transition. So like you're building physique, but you just want a good Force Fist card to go on your board as well. And then you can also play it with RKP on him. Oakley, man, that I've not even seen. I think it's decent. I think it's a fine card. I don't think it's great on Ming Ming. I think somehow this has ended up not being a Ming Ming card. But I think it's decent. Crane 3, Crash Footwork, Poke Kill on 2. That's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. I have not seen that, but it is pretty funny. God, maybe we should play a game of Lee Man and go 8th after this. I'm gonna call it B. Better than this. Rakshasa Pouncing is controversial. I do respect the opinion that it is good, and I could be wrong on it. I only played with it once, and I did win the lobby, but I don't think that was because of Rakshasa Pouncing. Magnanimous Righteousness, I think, is really good on Boo and Ming Ming. I think it's probably like an A. I think the boards that this enables on Ming Ming are really good, though Ming Ming it's hard to assemble. And I think the Crash Fist Shabu board is happy to have it. And I think Crash Fist is solid. I think it's decent. Probably a very good top 4 card. I think a lot of this card is a placebo effect. As in, like, you just have a Crash Fist board, and this card doesn't actually help you with that board. I don't think I agree. People underrate Vast Universe Force. Do people underrate Vast Universe Force? I think it's like the best Force build. Like, comfortably. And this is really good in that board. I think this is good. I'm gonna put it up in A. Maybe worse than this. But I think this card is more widely playable than most of these. Have I ever seen anyone play a Vast Universe as their main plan? I saw it a lot in previous seasons, not so much in this season. God is very good. So rare nowadays. I don't want to sell it. God's good. Fulu Ming. I mean, that doesn't seem good. I don't think it's good on Fulu. Entangle. So, Entangle is... There's two Entangle boards. There's Ming Ming Entangle, and there's Liman Entangle. Limangle, as it is known. By no one but me. This card kind of does an absurd amount of damage. It kills you through a lot of different disruptions. Weaken is pretty much useless against it. It does a lot better into defense than you'd probably expect, because characters who are playing it have a bunch of base attack anyway. I think it is very good. Do I think it's S? I mean, I haven't put anything else in S. I think the thing that makes it good on Ming Ming and Li Man is the whole game plan for both those characters is just so coherent. Something has to go in S. I mean, that's not true. IV doesn't have anything. I'm gonna put it in S and call it a day, I think. I think that's pretty reasonable. I may be way too high on this card. Like, way too high on this card. But I think just the raw amount of power it has is kind of great. Well, Senpai, if you believe other people, this can go into S. You could also maybe talk me into this being S. I really just don't have a good beat for how good Earth Tiger is. I mean, Subnova got to 9k with like 150 games, which is kind of absurd. So maybe it's an S. But I think this is my list. Where do you disagree, chatters? Now is your chance. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Light Sword in A above everything else. I don't agree. I don't think the boards that play Light Sword are better than these. It's like outside West seasons. Lao Sentient lower. I mean, I've literally played that board. I have that board in my match history. But I appreciate where you're coming from. Lao Sentient lower. I guess I don't know how I feel about Musician Yanshan. I kind of think Musician Yanshan is probably better than we are pretending he is. Sorry, pretending implies we're doing it on purpose. Better than we think he is, just because I think Yanshan is just generally underrated. Because he's so universally clowned on. I don't think he's great or anything, but I don't know. It's not like there's a million DXs running around to really screw with his musician plan. So I think maybe Flower Sentient is fine there. Yeah, we already talked about Coil versus Constance. I may be too high on this one. Like, maybe these should be swapped. Flame Eater, maybe too high. Spirit Formation, maybe too high. These ones are really hard to sort of evaluate. We can't clown on G-Funk Strong and say Yanshen is better than we pretend he is. Yes, we can. I just did it. Of course we can. Say whatever I want. G-Funk Strong is also probably a little bit better than we say he is. But it is very fun to make fun of G-Funk Strong. It's fun to make fun of Yanshen too. But we gotta keep the wheel spinning. DT is B and Rakshasa is D is a joke. I think DT is quite good. But I could be talked down on it. I mean, I could be talked into these two being similar. I just don't think, like, a card that just piles on damage when your board is already assembled is, like, that good. I mean, I kind of feel like this fills the niche of doing damage on G-Funk Strong better than this. And then, like, eventually you draw enough cards that your good G-Funk Strong can assemble 30 agility and actually is good, right? Like, G-Funk Strong eventually gets to the late game and then his board is solid. The water was no chance at all the defense boards. I mean, isn't the problem with Rakshasa also that, like, you ignore the defense for 3 hits and then the rest of your attacks go into defense? Doesn't seem like it's that. I mean, Rakshasa is powerful. It does a lot of damage, but I just don't think it helps G-Funk Strong enough. Especially because, like, you have to draw Shuro first, right? Like, G-Funk Strong, you need to hit Physique. You need to hit something to do with your tier 4. You don't have any roll economy. You're rolling on 5. If the game goes well and, like, you get to tier 5 with a lot of rolls, you're, like, probably gonna hit a Shuro and then you're probably gonna hit a Rakshasa bouncing sooner rather than later. I mean, Meditation's still pretty good in early tier 5. Not sure. You have Touch Sky and B. I may have memory, like, it might just be like a historical thing. That I remember losing to this card a lot and getting, like, blown the fuck up on turn 3 through Weaken, but maybe it's worse than I'm rating it. The board folds hard to Ice Guard. I feel like Dharma always has play against Ice Guard, but again, that might be historical memory from playing a lot of Dharma versus Ice Guard boards. Maybe, like, this is maybe what? Maybe it's less than this. Maybe it's down here. Yeah, it's possible I'm overrating just how good it is when you hit. And your mid-game plan is not so good either. I could move this down. I could be talked into this being lower than this. Similar to Light Sword. Sure. I can believe that. Alright, I'm gonna say that this is my list. Uncontroversial. Perfect. Exactly capturing the strength of cards in the season. Well done, team.